Namaste. Welcome to this yoga short for building strength in your legs. I've chosen just a handful of postures to run together in a little flow for us today, but there are lots of different ways to strengthen the legs, and there are lots of videos on this YouTube channel about legs and leg action and hips and stabilizing. So please feel free to explore through those as well. Today we're going to start with a little Kati Chakrasana, but if you want a more formal warm-up, pause the video and do one now. Take your feet nice and wide apart. Just lift one foot from the floor and then the other, transferring your weight between the 2 feet. And then just make that a little bit quicker, a little bit smaller, until your feet come to land on the floor. You feel really grounded and really stuck down. And then with a soft knee, and lift from the sole of the foot to the crown of the head, gently twisting from side to side. And here, allowing your shoulders and arms to be nice and soft and relaxed, so that the arms wrap the body and tap the body, perhaps around the hips, which would be appropriate for our practice today. And if you wish to, you can free your feet to just gently pivot on your toes, or pivot one heel away from the mat as you twist. And then if you'd like to add another element, you can bend your knees for a slight bounce in the center, like not quite a plie, just to warm up those larger muscle groups in the legs. And we're just doing a few minutes of this, some shoulder rolls, and that's our warm up for today. So when you're ready, you can let loose your bounce, allow your feet to find steadiness and sway back to center. In the center, rolling your shoulders a few times. And in the opposite direction too. So we're going to start our practice today with, we'll start this next bit of our practice today with chair pose, Utkatasana. So bringing your feet underneath your hips. They can be ever so slightly wider than where the thigh bones come into the hip sockets, but try not to have them wider than your outside body, if that makes sense, the outer part of your body. And then just making sure that they're nice and straight, lifting all your toes up, spreading them out, placing the big toes down first, and then the rest of the toes down as evenly as possible. And the idea is to create a wide base in the foot instead of gripping the mat, although at times you might feel your foot doing that, that's okay. But try not to start gripping, try to start spreading. Okay, and then here, I'm going to turn the palms of the hands a little bit forward and simply bend the knees to wherever they get to so that the heels remain on the floor, and you can feel your weight centered between your feet. Look down, make sure you can see your toes, or some of them at least. Big toes and second toes would be good. And check that your knees haven't fallen apart altogether. I did that the wrong way around. So that they're right over your feet if possible. They're tracking the center 2 toes of the feet. And then here, we're going to raise the arms forward and up. So the palms are turned upwards, which means that you might not raise your arms as high as you normally would. But if you feel no restriction in your shoulders, if you don't shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, then you can release them all the way up towards your head. And then in this position, just a gentle tucking of the tailbone under and out again. So a little wriggle through the tailbone, just to find the 2 extremes of the hip movement, or the hip torso connection, and then settle in the center. And as you do, perhaps lifting the crown of the head, maybe just gently looking upwards. There's a slight opening of the chest. It's quite a big opening of the chest. There's a slight back bend in this, so a lifted chin is quite good. And just settling yourself in the center space and seeing if you can relax your effort a little bit here. So keeping a gentle lifting of the pelvic floor and the belly muscles, a gentle drawing down of the shoulders to find that length in the body. Maybe you find your Ujjayi breath. Taking a few deep breaths. Whenever you're ready, you can stand tall, turn the palms down and float the arms down to your side. And as you do, just taking a few moments to wriggle your shoulders, maybe even wriggle your hips a little. Awesome stuff. So chair pose is a great pose for building strength in the legs. It's a bit like those ski sits that we used to have to do in PE years and years ago, or wall sits, I think they're called these days. But it promotes strength through not just the quadriceps, but also into all of the muscles of the leg and the buttocks as well. So they're quite good. If you're not into squatting, then it's ideal. It's a very yoga version of something like that, but where we do it more slowly and more steadily. So we're going to add something to it this time. And we're going to add a twisted dancer pose, which is where we lift one knee and bring the opposite elbow using the sort of cactus arms of our upper body. So standing again in chair pose, I'm just sideways so that you can see better. Turning the palms forward. Standing in Tadasana to begin with, sorry, turning the palms forward, feeling that lift, and then bending the knees, just checking that your tuck under or tuck out is a neutral, and you've got that lift in the belly. We're going to raise the arms forward and up, and just make sure that the shoulders are settled down. Doesn't matter where you get to, you can widen your arms, you can have them in front of the body. And if your arms being up is tiring, then you can bring your hands down to the center of the chest as well. Here we're going to transfer the weight between the feet. So transfer your weight onto your right foot, lifting the left heel, and then place the left heel down, transfer the weight onto the left foot, lifting the right heel. And we're just going from side to side. The idea is to try and do it without really moving too much from side to side. Very good. Do one more standing on the left foot, lifting the right, and then come back to the center. And just again, checking that your weight is where you want it to be. This time we're going to lift the left heel off the floor, bring the left knee up, and at the same time twist the upper body to bring the right elbow towards the left side. So everything is towards the center, bit of a balance. Use a point of focus. And then when you're ready, you can come back to chair pose. And then do the same on the other side. So finding that inner lift, finding the strength in the legs, lifting the right knee, and then just gently twisting the left elbow towards the right knee, finding a point of focus for a moment, and then releasing back. Let's do that one more time to each side. Just a little lift into twisted dancer. Don't worry too much about the shape of the arms and the legs, as long as it feels good. And working to the opposite side when you're ready. Coming to chair pose in the center. If you want to, just check your chair, make sure your knees are where they're supposed to be. You've still got that openness, not too sticky outy at the bottom, and a lift in the belly. And then from chair pose, we're going to twisted dancer, lifting the left leg. And this time, we're going to extend the arms and the leg as well. So we're now straight legs, straightish with the standing leg, straightish with the left leg in front of you, straight arms. And then from here, we're going to find warrior three. So reaching your arms forward and your left leg back, pivoting on your hip, nice and firm in the belly. And then from here, we're going to find tree pose. So standing upright, I'm going to leave my left foot quite low down, raise my arms up. You can have your hands, of course, at your heart if you prefer. Left knee pointing out to the left, standing leg pressing into that left foot and vice versa. Nice lift through the center of the body. And then from here, coming back to twisted dancer. Very good. And then standing onto both legs in chair pose. We'll maybe take a little rest here, coming up to Tadasana, releasing the arms down to the side. Just giving yourself a little wiggle in the shoulders or the hips. And you can feel that both your moving leg, your left leg, and your standing leg, your stabilizing leg, your right leg have both worked, but differently. So they feel different. You've got effort in different places. Let's do that again to the right side. So standing in Tadasana, palms facing forward, nice and tall, bending the knees, reaching your arms forward, finding your shoulders have settled down, just exploring that excuse me, place with the pelvis to find your neutral spine, lifting in the belly and the pelvic floor, and then gently transferring your weight onto your left foot, twisted dancer to the right, right knee up, left elbow across the body. From here, just extending your arms and legs. If you can, straightish will do. And then from here, warrior three. So pivoting on your hip to take your right leg back. This is my less ably balancing leg for sure. Nice and firm in the back of the body, also in the belly. Keep the standing leg soft a little if that helps. And then from here into tree pose. So bringing your right foot against your left lower leg, or perhaps you want to do a more involved tree. Find your point of focus, settle your shoulders down, nice wide arms or high arms if you'd like to. You can always have the palms together over your head. I just find that nips my shoulders a little bit. And then from here back to twisted dancer. Nice little wobble there. And from there into chair pose again. And from chair pose into standing. Releasing the arms down to the side. Just give yourself a moment, wiggling hips, wiggling shoulders. So this obviously feels like quite a lot of work in your legs, which is great. That's what we're doing. We're doing strengthening, stabilizing work in the legs. We can add another element to it as well. So we're going to do the same sort of thing, but add a little lunge, perhaps a little warrior, perhaps a downward dog, just to, find our way. But if you feel that you've done enough, that's okay to stop here as well. So starting in Tadasana with the palms facing forwards, take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, lift and engage the pelvic floor, the belly muscles, and then reaching the arms forward, settle yourself into your chair pose, bending the knees, finding your neutral spine, settling there, shoulders back and down. From here, we're going to transfer the weight onto the right leg, lift the left, come into twisted dancer. Woo, she says, same thing again. Then lengthen into a standing spinal twist. And then come into your warrior three pose. And from here, we're going to step the foot back. So from warrior three, the left foot finds the floor. Stay in this sort of diagonal version of the lunge. Feel the weight into your feet, and then bring yourself into an upright lunge. From your upright lunge position, you're going to bend your left knee, your back knee, to bring it down towards the floor. If you touch, that's great. If you don't, that's fine. And then press both legs long to stand all the way up on straight legs. Arms are still up and back. Bending both knees. See if you can get the left knee to just touch the floor, just kiss the floor, or there or thereabouts. Lengthen both legs. There we are. We'll bend both knees again. One more time, just 3 of these. And lengthen both legs. And then see if you can find your left foot onto the floor, so the heel is down as well. Lengthen both legs. We're going to do a pyramid pose, so standing forward bend from here. Reach the arms forward like you're passing something to someone far away. Scoop your belly in, lengthen down the sides of the body, press into the feet, and then allow your hands to find the floor, even if that means bending your front knee. Then we're going to pivot the back toes so that the back heel is up and step into downward facing dog. And in your down dog, just paddling through the legs a little bit, doing a little turning of your head from side to side. And if you are now beginning to regret not warming up a little bit more before our practice started, then next time you come to do this, making sure to do a few cat-cows and downward dogs to loosen off the back of the body before you start. I have to admit, I'm doing this completely cold, but there we are, not to worry. When you're ready, you can tiptoe, scoop the belly in, tiptoe your feet forward towards your hands. You can even come up onto your tip fingers if, like me, you've got nice short arms.
And then find a standing forward bend, relaxing the backs of the hands to the floor or holding elbow to elbow. And whenever you're ready, after a few deep breaths, bending the knees deeply, pressing into the feet, scoop the belly in and roll up to standing.
When you come up to standing, reach the arms out and up, lifting your chest, and finish with the hands at the center of the heart. So, whole thing to the opposite side. Bear in mind, this is my less balancy leg. I shall do my best. I hope you will also do your best. So we're going to start with the palms turned forwards, nice Tadasana position, deep breath in. As you breathe out, lift your pelvic floor and your belly muscles. And then bending your knees. You can, of course, breathe in to lift the arms up, but I hope you'll let your breath find its natural rhythm. Soften the shoulders down, find your neutral spine by wriggling your pelvis backwards and forwards a little. And then taking your awareness into your left foot, freeing the right heel, and then the right foot from the floor as you do Twisted Dancer to the right side. When from Twisted Dancer, you're going to extend into the standing spinal twist, draw the shoulder blades towards each other, lengthen both legs if you can. From the standing spinal twist, just pivoting on your left hip to reach the right leg back behind you into Warrior Three. And from Warrior Three, stepping that foot to the floor, first taking this diagonal version of the lunge. So it's just your toes on the floor to begin with. I forgot that, I put my heel down, but don't copy me. Okay, so pressing into both feet to stand tall into an upright lunge. Feel the back of the body switch on, support with the belly muscles. And here we're going to gently lower the right knee towards the mat, not stepping the feet any further apart, and if you can, gently kissing it down to the mat, and then lengthen both legs, standing tall. Arms are still back and up, belly still engaged. Touching that right knee towards the floor or to the floor if you can, and then standing all the way back up again. Last one. Touching down, you can really feel those muscles working now, and up. And in your lengthened position, just allow your right foot to find the floor. You might need to do a little bit of twisting or shimmering. And we're going to breathe in to open the chest, find strength in the legs, the feet, the belly, draw the knees up towards the hips, lengthen your arms forward like you're passing something to someone far away, scooping the belly and then lengthen the hands down towards the mat. Maybe here you need to soften your front knee. That's okay if you do. And then from here, we're all going to soften our front knee anyway. Place the hands onto the floor and step your left foot to join your right foot in downward facing dog. And here, we're just giving the down dog a little bit of a wiggle. If you want to, a really nice thing to do here is to step your feet nice and wide, still pressing your chest towards your thighs, but up onto tiptoes, drop the heels to the right, and then just bend and stretch the legs a couple of times. This sort of squatting dog is really nice to iron out some kinks across the hips, and then come up to your tiptoes, doing the same thing to the other side. So heels down, little squatting dog. You're trying to keep your upper body relatively square, but don't try to resist it too much. And then coming to center, final downward dog, perhaps resting in stillness or near stillness, really activating length in the torso, pressing the mat, pressing the hands into the mat, pressing the heels towards the mat, scooping the belly and making sure your neck is nice and free, doing a little nod or shake if you like. And then finish your practice by coming into child's pose, or if you prefer, you can lie flat, or if you prefer, you can kneel up, whichever of these feels good to you. And just taking a few deep breaths in your child's pose or pose of repose, whatever your choice is. So I hope you've enjoyed this practice. Rest in your resting pose for as long as you like. Try to do a little relaxation in Shavasana if you have time. I hope that you do, because it's always good to do that. And I'll see you again next time. Namaste.